We'll take a few moments here to simply notice the weight of the bones, easing a little more deeply into the earth beneath you. We get into habits of holding our bodies almost as though we're poised for action, ready to go. So let's start our practice with an intention to release any anxiety, any tension that we may be bringing with us, and to welcome a sense of softening, of releasing, and of allowing the weight of the body to release a little more deeply into the earth beneath you. Pay particular attention to softening the fingers, turning the palms up towards the ceiling. You can take the hands and the feet as wide as you feel comfortable away from the midline of the body, just so that you get a sense of releasing, feeling that equal weight through the back of the shoulders, the back of the hips, and into the back of the head. Notice how you hold the neck, perhaps nodding the chin a little closer to the chest to release and lengthen here. Unclench the jaw. Soften the tongue in the well of the mouth. Relax the muscles in the lips, in the cheeks. Soften the eyebrows. And allow all the muscles of the face to fully let go. Bring your awareness to the breath, following the breath from the tip of the nose along the nasal passages. Tuning in to the sensations of the breath. Noticing the cool air at the tip of the nose. The warm air at the back of the throat. And as you slow the breath down, become aware of deepening the inhalation, lengthening the exhalation. A sense of widening and expanding into the space that surrounds you. A softening, a releasing. Every inhale, filling your body with positive energy. Every exhale, releasing your body of tension, of fatigue. Recharging our bodies with positive energy. Letting go of any negative energy. Maintain an awareness on the pace of your breath. Rather than feel that you're forcing the breath, as you allow your body to soften and release, allow the mind to quiet, and follow this deepened inhalation, this lengthened exhalation. Feeling the chest rise and fall. Then directing that inhalation a little deeper still, noticing the belly rise. As you exhale, fully softening and releasing. Take a moment to acknowledge that we often hold anxiety and tension here in the abdomen. So think of every out-breath, unclenching, releasing, bringing a sense of balance to the body, to the breath. remaining aware of your space within this room, your connection with the earth beneath you. Feeling that connection through the pressure points at the back of the head, through the shoulders, through the back of the hips. And gradually starting to return sensation to the physical body. Nudging the breath back towards a natural, easy rhythm. If your legs remain outstretched, draw the feet a little closer together. If you chose to begin with the knees bent, take a moment to extend the legs along the mat. And we'll draw the hands a little closer again towards the hips. Adjust to draw the shoulder blades together, feeling yourself fully rest the upper body on the flats of the shoulder blades, noticing that natural lift in the lower back, and again softening through the buttocks, through the inner thighs. Inhaling now to lift both arms overhead, pressing through fingers, pointing through toes, lengthening through the sides of the body. Then bringing the thumbs together in an interlock, bringing the feet into flexion, so pushing the toes up towards the ceiling. Exhaling now to press the upper body to the right, creating a little space here to the left of the waist and the rib cage. Inhaling to return to center for that full lengthened stretch. Back to an interlock in the thumbs, flexion in the feet as you exhale to the left, opening out through the right of the waist and the rib cage. Inhale again to return to center, taking a full body stretch. This time on the exhale, draw the right knee in towards the chest. So we'll place the hand gently on the shin. If this feels a little uncomfortable, you can always bring the hands to the back of the thigh and apply gentle pressure here, creating a little more release through the back of the neck, the back of the lower back, across the sacrum, redirecting the knee out to the right shoulder, widening that space in the lower back. Then almost as though we're drawing a circle with the knee, we're mobilizing the top of the thigh bone into the hip joint. So just little circles here, drawing the knee back to center, repositioning the hands behind the thigh. So we'll use an interlock to just draw the thigh to the chest, then we'll push the sole of the foot up towards the ceiling. So naturally, most of us are tight in this muscle that runs from underside of the buttock to the back of the knee into the hamstring. So we'll allow a little softness in the knee, pushing a little more keenly through the heel. We'll keep supporting that leg as we inhale to point the toe, exhale to flex, inhale to point, come again to full flexion, then draw that thigh a little closer to the chest. As we push through the heel, just try to iron out that bend in the knee. On the next out breath, bend that knee again towards the chest. Then we'll extend that right leg forward, bring both arms overhead again. Another long stretch through the body. On the next exhale, draw the left knee in. So same idea, using a little pressure on either the shin or the back of the thigh to gently push that thigh a little closer to the chest, widening the space in the lower back, directing that left knee out to the left shoulder. Then again, that little circular motion, just enough to start opening up the fluid in the hip joint, returning that knee to center, repositioning the hands behind the thigh and pushing again through the heel. So we're mindful that for now, the back of the thigh may feel a little tight. Inhale to point the toe, that takes the pressure away. Exhale to flex. Inhale to point. Exhale to flex. Remain in flexion as you guide the thigh a little closer again. And once more, straighten out that knee. On an out breath, hug the left knee in, then hug the right knee in. So both knees in towards the chest And a little release now as we easily rock from one side to the other, almost as though you're massaging those tight muscles at the back of the sacrum. As you return to center, replace both feet on the mat, heels hip width apart, so there's a little gap between the thighs, between the knees. The insides of the feet are parallel. Replace the hands either side of the hips, palms again to the ceiling, shoulder blades drawn together. So I'll ask you to take note again of that little lift in the lower back. That's natural. That allows that little S shape in the spine. As you exhale, draw the tummy button in and feel that you're gently filling that little gap in the lower back. On an inhale, push into the soles of the feet, lift the bottom from the floor and press the shins forward. So we're encouraging more of an opening through the front of the body, weighted through the shoulders, rather than feeling restricted by any tension in the lower back. Let the buttocks soften. Inhale to press the shins forward again, lifting the thighs a little higher. Then we'll apply a little tension here. Clench the buttocks, press the hips a little higher towards the ceiling, then release. Squeeze the buttocks up and in, then release. One more squeeze, then on an out breath, gently roll down through the spine, vertebra by vertebra. Enjoying that sense of each individual vertebra reconnecting with the floor, widening again into the space in the lower back, and allowing the back of the hips to fully soften and release. Now reposition the arms. So we'll bring the hands up so that they're rested at shoulder level. So again, the palms are turned up towards the ceiling and we're relaxed through the arms. Draw the soles of the feet together and allow the knees to roll open. So we're simply allowing gravity to get a little more deeply into that hip joint, to find a little more space in the inner thigh. But do be mindful that if you feel any tension in the groin, simply draw the knees a little closer together just so that we're not overdoing it too soon. On the out breath, engage the core, guide the knees towards one another. Reposition those heels hip width apart, then pick the feet up off the floor and draw both knees in towards the chest. On an exhale, roll the knees to the right, turning the gaze along the length of the left arm. So we're widening into that space at the side of the chest, feeling the weight of the left shoulder release to the floor. Visualizing an inhalation from fingertip to fingertip. Then again, that exhale to engage the core and roll the knees through center. Take the knees to the opposite side, this time turning the gaze along the length of the right arm. And ideally, we don't want to feel that right shoulder lift up. So let the upper body become heavy. Just let gravity sort out that gentle stretch at the side of the hip. Then again, engage the core to support the lower back, rolling the knees back once more towards center. Replace both feet on the mat. Lift and lengthen through the right leg. Bring that foot to flexion, pushing through the heel, a sense of drawing the hips back to the floor. So again, we're back into this tight space at the back of the thigh. Then bend that right knee, and we're going to simply bring the right hand to take hold of either the big toe or wrap the fingers around the whole foot if that's more comfortable. We'll keep the head rested on the mat as we press through that right heel. So initially we'll start by pushing the heel straight up towards the ceiling. Obviously we are not monkeys, so the arms are not as long as the legs, so it's likely that we'll have a little bend in the knee. We just don't want to strain with the shoulder to reach the foot. So be mindful of allowing the shoulders to relax back and down. On an out breath, guide the right leg out to the right side and take your gaze along the length of the left arm. Now, as soon as you take the leg past that center point, You feel as though you're rolling onto the back of the right hip. So perhaps nudge the left knee a little wider, push through the sole of the right foot, deepen the stretch to the inner thigh, but keep the back of the hips and the shoulders equally weighted through the mat. On an out breath, engage the core and slide that foot back towards center. Again, bend the knee in, hug the knee to the chest, then replace the right foot to the floor. Again, we'll go wide with the arms, palms turned up to the ceiling. This whole aspect of being open and ready to receive. Exhale to draw the tummy button in, pushing the small of the back to the floor. Then inhale to lift and lengthen through the left leg. So again, we're going to bring that left foot to flexion, pushing through the heel, drawing the hips back to the floor. So we're kind of maximizing that natural stretch without any effort through the back of the leg. On an exhale, bend the knee in, take hold of that big toe, then push straight up towards the ceiling again. So for now, the shoulders are released back and down, the weight is equal through the hips. Then as we get to the next exhale, guide that left foot out to the left side. Again, we can help that balance through the back of the hips by allowing the right knee to rock a little deeper open. Turning the gaze along the length of the right arm, pressing through the heel, feeling the intensity of that stretch to the inner thigh. Then as you exhale, draw the tummy button in, slide the foot back towards center. Then hug that knee again in towards the chest. Replace that foot on the mat again. Reposition the heels hip width apart. Hands either side of the hips, palms turned up to the ceiling, walking the heels just a tiny bit closer towards the bottom. So without any effort, without lifting at the moment, we'll gently just peel the right heel from the mat. So we're pressing the ball of the right foot to the floor. Then replace that foot to the floor. We'll peel the left heel up. Then again, we'll find that connection so both soles of the feet are connecting fully with the earth. Now press down into the soles of both feet, lift the bottom from the mat, wide through the chest, so we can feel that we're not resting on the back of the neck. We're very firmly rested at the back of the shoulders, equally weighted through the soles of the feet, lifting the thighs a little higher, squeezing the buttocks together as we did before, then lifting the right heel, coming onto the ball of the right foot, squeezing that heel to the floor, lifting the left heel, squeezing that heel to the floor, keeping the butt tight as we lift both heels, press the shins forward, lift the thighs higher. We'll relax the buttocks now, bring the heels to the floor, pressing the shins forward on an inhale, lifting the arms up overhead. Resting the backs of the hands on the floor, pressing the shins forward. On the exhale now, bring those arms up and over, rolling through the spine, lowering the sit bones, the back of the hips towards the floor. So as you inhale, you lift the hips, the arms come up and over. As you exhale, it's almost as though you're closing that space. I sometimes refer to this as a Mexican wave through the body. So feel the joy, that release through the spine, that opening through the heart. One more time, let's lift up and over. Then we'll keep the hips in the air, pressing the shins forward. We'll reposition the hands behind the head. So stack one hand on top of the other. Elbows are opened out, so the forearms, upper arms are rested to the floor. Then on an out breath, gently roll down through the spine again. You'll notice that by having the arms pinned under the head, this just creates a little more resistance through the pectoral muscles, so you might be feeling a deeper stretch through the chest. As you exhale, engage the core, release the hands from the lower back, and bring the hands back again, either side of the hips, drawing the knees in towards the chest. A little figure of 8 above the hips now, rocking from one side to the other. So we're taking this massaging back again. Then as you return to center, we'll be aware that we've been laid on our backs for a while. So if you need to, choose the left side, particularly if you have low blood pressure. Take a moment, then bring yourself back to a seated upright position. Perfect. Now we'll start with the soles of the feet together. So we did this laying down, we did a supine Baddha Konasana. And as we do when we're laying down, we're simply allowing gravity to soften the weight of the knees. So there's no pressure, we're not pushing any harder. We'll focus on lifting and lengthening out of the sit bones, drawing the shoulder blades together. Then we'll lead with the sternum rather than the chin to hinge forward into a gentle fold here. So all that work that we've done in the inner thighs, in and around the hip joint, we're just taking the weight of the upper body, drawing the shoulder blades together and easing a little more deeply into this releasing space. As you exhale, draw the tummy button in. As you inhale, come back towards center. Let's come to a leg cross position now. So I'm going to suggest that we draw the left heel in towards the groin, position the right foot in front. So you might feel that your heel is almost resting on the ankle. If you're more comfortable in a traditional easy sucker pose with the knees a little higher, then just take the position that works best for you. Take a moment to rest the backs of the hands on the thighs. And for a moment, close the eyes again. So we'll use this really to realign through the spine. So feeling the back of the head lining up with the tailbone. Tune in again to the breath. Notice that gentle lengthening through the spine. And it's almost as though with every in-breath, you're lifting yourself out of the sit bones, drawing the top of the head parallel to the ceiling, the underside of the chin parallel to the floor, the back of the head lining up with the tailbone. Gently blink the eyes open. Exhale to draw the tummy button in. Then turn the gaze over the right shoulder. Let's keep the underside of the chin parallel to the floor as we follow the gaze over to the left shoulder. Bring the gaze back again to center. We'll lift the right hand up, and there's no real pressure involved here. We get a sense of drawing the right ear towards the shoulder rather than pushing the head down. Exhaling to release the shoulders away from the ears. Inhaling to lift and lengthen again through the spine. Then on the next out breath, engage the core, release the hand. Inhale to lift the other hand up and over. Exhale to gently guide the ear towards the shoulder. Wide through the chest, engage through the core. Then on an out breath, release. Bringing your gaze forward and extending both arms forward now. Bring the palms together. We'll take right forefinger to the top of our interlock, opening the hands towards the heart. Exhale to draw the tummy button in, curving the spine towards the back of the room and nodding the chin towards the chest. Inhale to lift back to center, turning the hands inside out, pressing through the palms and opening the arms overhead, softening the shoulders down away from the ears. Again, keeping that sense of being equally weighted between the sit bones, lifting and lengthening, then exhaling to extend to the right, turning the gaze over to your left, inhaling to return to center, exhaling to extend to the left, turning your gaze to the right, lifting once more back towards center, Then bringing the palms back in front of the heart. Shoulder blades drawn together, pressing the palms away, mobilizing those fingers. Then bring that interlock behind the lower back. Left forefinger to the top, shoulder blades drawn together. There's a temptation here to lean forward into the space. So remind yourself to realign the back of the head with the tailbone, engage the core, then draw the hands away from the lower back. Keep that chin parallel to the mat. Then as you exhale, release, separate the hands. And we'll switch that leg cross over. So we're bringing the right heel in, placing the left foot in front, extending the right arm away, lifting the left hand and looking up towards the middle finger of that hand. Drawing the right elbow in towards the waist. This encourages your body to extend again to the side. Lift up and lengthen, looking up to the fingertips of the left hand. Then inhale to lift and come back to center. As you exhale, same action to the opposite side. You want to be mindful that you're not lifting the right sit bone to the floor. So again, we're equally weighted through the bottom. Inhale to lift, come back to center, reposition that right hand behind the hip, bring the left hand to the knee. We don't want to pull the knee towards us. So if anything, there's just a little gentle pressure pushing that knee away as we lengthen and lift out of the sit bones. Exhale to come into a twist, opening the rib cage to the back of the room rather than using the neck. Push down into the palms of the hands. Inhale to lift the arms overhead. Shoulders down away from the ears, wide through the collarbones. Then exhaling, taking opposite hand to opposite knee. Inhaling to re-lengthen. Exhaling to come into the twist. Widening through the chest. On an out breath, keeping the hands low this time as you bring the palms to rest just in front of the knees. Once more, drawing the tummy button in and encouraging that cat stretch towards the back of the room. Nodding the chin to the chest. Then again, that little gentle pressure as you inhale to lift back to center. Reposition the hands in front of the ankles. And out breath to gently walk the arms forward. So you want to be mindful in this position. I've taken you into a forward fold in the side that you're probably least comfortable in, because we generally come into cross-legged the first time round on the side that we feel that is more tolerant. The other thing we need to be aware of is the more you walk your hands forward, the more likely you are to lift the shoulders to the ears. So perhaps slide the hands a little closer towards the body, lower the elbows to the mat, and just train your gaze to the end of the fingertips. Draw the shoulder blades together so the heart stays open. Then exhale to engage the core, push into the palms, gently walk the hands back towards the ankles. Reposition the hands behind the hips. Position one for this posture is to draw the shoulder blades together and simply open up through the upper thoracic spine. So you kind of get a sense that the shoulder blades are closing in. We're opening the sternum and turning the gaze towards the ceiling. Position two for this posture is to press the shins forward, wide through the chest, lifting the bottom from the floor and encouraging a deeper stretch through the front of the thighs and into the hip flexors. It's not for everyone, and it can be a little bit annoying on the ankles, so don't push it if it's not within your gift. On an out breath, release and bring the sit bones towards the floor, lifting back to center, coming into a wide leg now. So the secret of a wide leg is to not create so much tension at the back of the thighs that there's just no room to move. So always allow a little gap behind the knees. Try if you can to keep the toes pointing up towards the ceiling. This will activate the inner thigh muscles. Again, we want to avoid rolling back onto the tailbone. There's no core engagement when we do this, and it's not great for the lower back. So if anything, lift yourself out of the sit bones, draw the shoulder blades together. We'll do that forward fold again. Some of you will find it more pleasant than the cross leg version. Some of you will be cursing me under your breath, but you're all muted so you can say what you like. Shoulder blades drawn together, elbows easing a little more deeply towards the floor. And remember, this is your practice, so take from this posture what you need. If you need to widen the lower back or increase the stretch to the inner thighs, just work within your own tolerance. Draw the gaze to the end of the fingers. Exhale to draw the tummy button in, then walk the hands back towards center. I just want you to take a moment to observe that because we did that forward fold now, that space through the seat is much more balanced. So you can really feel that the sit bones have widened a little bit. You're far better connected into the floor. So we'll draw the feet together now. I always turn side on at this bit to show you the shape. So we'll come into a Dandasana pose. Now, my secret in a Dandasana pose, firstly, is to get that space between the sit bones, which we've just done with the wide leg fold. I have mentioned this before, but sometimes just helping that padding by easing it to the side, just a little bit of padding there, just so that you can feel the sit bones a little more keenly into the floor. We don't want to kind of get that sense of losing that nice length and structure and posture that we've recreated. So lift out of the sit bones, draw the shoulders back and down. And by now you'll be starting to feel the resistance in the back of the legs. It's quite difficult on the hamstrings, this posture. So let's not clench everything up. Let's not draw the knees down to the floor. Keep them nice and soft. And instead, have a picture in your mind of lifting the kneecaps towards the hips. So effectively, we're activating these muscles in the front of the thighs. We've got loads of space there. We want to use them more actively. So as these thighs are becoming more active, becoming warmer, we'll have to engage the core to keep the spine nicely supported. And then as we extend the arms forward, that little extra weight is just focusing our attention on this abdominal lift. So every out breath, draw the tummy button in. Every in breath, imagine that you're sending cooling energy to those thighs. If you feel like you've got jelly beans going in your legs, you're doing the right thing. Exhale, engage the core. Inhale, lift the arms up overhead. Press through the fingertips. Draw the weight of the sit bones back to the floor. Keep that activation in the fronts of the thighs. Beautiful work. Then keep the core engaged. So draw the tummy button in. Reposition the hands either side of the hips. Walk the feet in. You're welcome. Now push into the soles of the feet and lift the bottom from the floor. Heels ideally hip width apart. So again, we're back to that little gap between the thighs, pressing the shins forward. Now, the quickest limitation in this posture is feeling all that pressure on the wrists or on the shoulders. So make sure that you've equally weighted the body, pressing the shins forward, lifting the thighs, opening through the heart. Then replace the sit bones back to the floor. Good work. We're going to stay lifted up out the sit bones. We're going to keep the knees bent. My preference is to lift the toes from the floor, but if you're comfortable with feet on the mat, that will work. And bring the hands behind the thighs. So keep that sense of lifting and lengthening. And we'll just take a little practice of leaning back away from the midline of the body. So we need to have a little awareness of opening through the chest, and a lot of awareness of engaging the core. We've still got the hands in the backs of the thighs, so that's good. We're focused on supporting the lower back. Then we'll take the hands away from the thighs. Beautiful. So we're still in this V position. Now let's lift the right leg from the floor. For now, you can keep the knee bent just to see how it feels. Shoulder blades drawn together. Then push that right heel a little higher, more into the back of the leg. jelly beans all round. Then replace that right foot to the floor. Ultimately, we will have curved the spine a bit, so lift back up again. Lift the left foot, start with the bent knee. Come into the straight leg. Then replace that foot to the floor, hands behind the thighs. Exhale, draw the tummy button in. Inhale, lift yourself back to center. So that was quite easy. We didn't do too much lifting of our own body weight. What does tend to happen is we get a little build-up of lactic acid right here in the hip flexors. So my preferred way out of that is to bring the soles of the feet together, then hinge forward. You kind of feel that pushing into the hip flexors and that release in the lower back, which will be particularly welcome if you feel that the muscles of the lower back are weak and have had to help out on that core there. So we've done the easy version of boat. Let's see if we can walk it up. So for those of you who found that version of boat was enough for you, then by all means, repeat using the hands behind the thighs, because that just might be good to get you into the correct structure and posture of doing the pose. For those of us who maybe want to take it a little bit further, we'll start by taking the hands away from the thighs, lifting the right leg, lifting the left leg. So we're into this V-shape position. Try to keep the feet apart. If the feet are rested together, kind of confuses the lower back. Inhale, lift the arms up overhead. Beautiful. Now push through the heels and come into the full boat posture. I get extra points if you roll back, so don't worry about it. On an exhale, bring the knees in. On an inhale, open. Exhale, bring the knees in. Inhale, open. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. I can't hear you singing. Row, row, row your boat all the way to shore. If you see a lion, don't forget to roar. Roar! Lift back up to center. Bring the soles of the feet together back into your Baddha Konasana. Hinge forward. Ease that tension away. Beautiful. If you've got a screen that you can see yourself on, just take a moment and look at the shape that you're making with your spine. Ideally, in this position, we still want to be a diagonal line rather than a curved line. So shoulder blades drawn together, leading the sternum forward. Good. Then lift back to center. We're just going to switch our position round really quickly into an all fours position. So wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Take a moment to turn the toes under. We just want to release any tension in the lower back here. So keep the elbows soft, roll up into a cat stretch, nodding the chin to the chest. Resting now on the tops of the feet, curving the spine the opposite way, so opening the chest forward. Exhaling, rolling up, nodding the chin to the chest. Then inhaling, opening the sternum forward. Lovely. Come back into a neutral spine position. Lower down onto the forearms. Bring the tips of the thumbs together and walk the feet back. Turn the toes under. A nice low plank. Thighs parallel to the floor. If you're feeling it in the elbows, think about your weight distribution. Wide through the chest, shoulder blades drawn together. Avoid lifting the bottom too much. Then on and out breath, lower down onto the thighs, the belly, the chest. Bring the body to the floor. Reposition the hands either side of the chest, elbows drawn in. If you have trouble with your lower back, place the forearms to the floor, come up into Sphinx pose. Otherwise, lift up into Cobra. Jane, just watch out for this little child's pose as we press back, pushing the sit bones towards the heels, pressing the palms to the mat, inhaling to lift the fingers, pressing the wrists a little deeper to the mat, then replace the palms to the floor. Comfortably easing ourselves back up into an all fours position, simply so that we can bring the right thigh forward. And I'm a big fan in lunge pose of making sure we get into the back thigh. So the action here is to open into the hip flexor, to press into that left shin, but to make sure that front knee is no more than a 90-degree angle. Roll that right knee over the second toe, bring the hands in front of the heart. Inhale to lift the arms up overhead. And rather than encourage a back bend here, let's feel ourselves draw the sit bones to the floor, widen through the chest. Be really rooted into this posture. Engage the core now to hinge forward, bringing the palms to the floor, turning the back toe under. We want to bounce that back foot in until we can get the heel comfortably to the mat. Wide through the chest. So watch again for that curve in the spine. We're staying nice and long. Repositioning the left hand under the left shoulder, turning the belly in towards the right thigh, looking up to the fingertips of the right hand. As you exhale, bring that palm to the floor, turn the left toe under again, so you're picking the heel up, striking the right foot back into plank pose. So high plank this time, engaging those upper thoracic spine muscles, wide through the collarbones, engaged in the core. Then lowering down, knees, chest, chin, bottom is up. Inhaling to lift the chest. Then rest back again in your child's pose, or in all fours, rounding through the spine if that's a more comfortable position for you. Exhale to ease the sit bones towards the heels. Then lift back up. Repositioning the wrists under the shoulders. Make sure the knees haven't snuck together. Turn both toes under. Roll up into a cat stretch, nodding the chin to the chest. Resuming that neutral spine position. Then bringing the left leg forward. So we're coming into the lunge on this side. So again, as I bring the weight forward to come into the 90-degree angle, take the knee over the second toe, open deeper into this back thigh. Bring the hands again to an Anjali Mudra. Inhale to lift the arms up overhead. Shoulders down away from the ears, open through the chest. Then as you exhale, core engaged, hinge forward, palms to the floor. Right toe turned under, bounce the foot in, press the heel to the floor, right palm to the mat, turning the belly towards that bent left knee, looking up towards the fingertips of the left hand. Rather than coming back into a plank again, I'm going to bring you into a forward fold. So bring that left hand to the floor, strike the right foot forward, as much bend as you wish on the knees, wrapping the hands around the elbows, almost like hanging forward. Letting the weight at the back of the head through the neck release, softening the muscles of the lower back. Bringing the hands onto the thighs, exhaling to draw the tummy button in. Imagine that you're rolling up in a cat stretch, keeping the gaze down at the toes, then rolling the shoulders back and down. Perfect. Face the front of the room in your mountain pose. Shoulders down away from the ears, heels directly underneath the hips, bringing the weight forward, coming onto the balls of the feet, then lowering the heels back to the floor. Inhaling, lifting up onto the balls of the feet. Then releasing the heels back to the floor. So we'll keep the action at the moment of the heels on the floor. We'll lift the arms up overhead, softening the knees, pushing the sit bones back so that we effectively come to a 90-degree angle at the knees, keeping the ears between the upper arms into this really fierce chair pose. Press through the fingertips, widen through the chest. Open the backs of the thighs until they're parallel to the floor. Bring the hands in front of the heart. Push into the soles of the feet. Inhale to lift up. Come again onto the balls of the feet. Lift the arms overhead. Stay on the balls of the feet. We'll bring the hands back to heart to keep the balance a little easier. Keep the heels up and come back into that chair pose. Make sure the knees don't knock together. Wide through the chest. Beautiful. Let's challenge the balance. Keep the heels up. Extend the arms forward. Part the ears between the upper arms. If that's too much, bring the hands back to heart. Then on and out breath. Lower the heels to the floor. Bring the hands down. Inhale, lift up. Palms together. On an out breath, squeeze to the right. On an in breath, back to center. On an out breath, squeeze to the left. Come back again to center. Inhale to lift the sternum. Try to keep the thighs pressed back so that you don't inadvertently push the hips forward. Open that upper thoracic spine and ease into an upper back bend. Then on an out breath, hands back to heart. Thighs remain pressed back. Wrap the hands around the elbows again and come into a full forward fold. Forearms parallel to the floor. Chin gently nodded under. Swaying from one side to the other. Coming back to center. Widening the arms, engaging the core. Unhinging, so simply lifting the belly from the thighs. It's not a roll, it's a lift. Then bringing the hands back towards heart. Just take a moment there to close the eyes, to tune into your breath. Beautiful. And while we're in that posture, I'd suggest keeping your eyes closed if you can stand it, and lifting the right knee. So feeling the energy under the sole of the left foot, lifting the right knee, underside of the foot parallel to the floor. It's a lot trickier with the eyes closed, so make life easier for yourself. If you need to open your eyes, then we'll use that right big toe to draw 3 circles in towards the midline of the body. Then change direction, mobilize the ankle. Then replace that foot to the floor. Come onto the balls of the feet again. Release the heels to the mat. Make sure the heels are hip width apart. Once more, close the eyes. Focus on the breath. Feel yourself taking root under the sole of the right foot, engaging the core, then lifting the left knee, coming into the balance on this side. And of course, if you need to, just blink the eyes open. Rather than looking up or down, find a point on the horizon to look at. That will help with balance. Then mobilizing the ankle again, drawing those circles in, then out. Then replacing the foot to the floor. Perfect. Bring the hands again, either side of the hips. Inhale to squeeze the shoulders up towards the ears. On an exhale, shrug the shoulders down. Inhale, squeeze the shoulders up. This time on the exhale, a little more control as we roll the shoulders back and down. Let's turn that into little circles. So we're really opening through the collarbones, through the heart space, drawing the shoulder blades together, bending the elbows now, drawing wide circles with the elbows, so really opening into the heart. Perfect. Bring both hands down by your side, then lift the arms up overhead. I'm going to suggest that we bring right arm forward, left arm back, and we draw concentric circles. It might feel as though you're swimming the channel, doing the backstroke. As long as you're moving, we're doing the right thing. So now that you've got it on one side, let's see if we can do it in the other. Veronica, I had to chuckle there. You looked as though you were disco dancing. Whoop, whoop. The speed at which you were chucking your arms around, amazing. Bring the arms overhead, bring the palms together, root down again into the soles of the feet, thighs pressed back, tailbone tucked under, core engaged, wide through the chest. Take a deep breath in through the nose, exhale through the mouth, and bring the hands back to heart. Release the hands down by your side. Give it all a little shake, a little shimmy. Let it all go. And when you feel ready, bring yourself back down to a comfortable Shavasana position. So I spotted it's a little bit chillier today. We were a bit spoiled, weren't we, with that sunshine? So if you need to pull on some socks, perhaps a fleece or a blanket, then do so. I'm not a huge fan of pillows under the neck for Shavasana, but you know if you need it. Take a few moments to come into a space where you can feel that your body is fully supported. So you kind of want to get back to that space where you're not holding your body, but you're allowing the full weight of your body to release. Widening again through the collarbones, turning the palms up towards the ceiling, resting the shoulders away from the ears, and either softening your gaze or closing your eyes. Resting the tongue once more in the well of the mouth. Just take a few breaths here to slow the breath down. We finished our standing section on balance, and balance can often create a desire to hold the breath, which then means that when we lie down, we feel a little laboured. So just come back into that natural sense of deepening the inhalation, lengthening the exhalation. And as you bring your body into a more comfortable rest, invite the mind to quiet. Simply rest here. Breathe here. Anytime the attention wanders, return your focus to the breath here. Tune your awareness in to the sound closest to you, the sound of your breath. Remind yourself not to cut corners with the breath. Come to the end of each full breath in. Feel as though you're emptying the lungs completely with each full breath out. Every in-breath serves to nourish and energize, filling your body with positive energy, revitalizing, re-energizing. Remind yourself that every out-breath is your body's way of letting go, releasing tension, letting go of any negative energy. A sense of widening and expanding with every breath in. Softening and releasing with every breath out. Start to make every out breath now a little noisier. Breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose and out through the mouth. If it feels good, letting this next exhalation go with an audible sigh. With the weight of that sigh, become aware again of the weight of your body resting into the earth. Start to direct your breath back to a natural, easy rhythm. Becoming aware again of your space within this room. Noticing the texture of the clothing against your skin. The cool air in the room against your face, your hands and your feet. Beginning to return sensation now to the physical body. Wiggling fingers and toes. Wiggle the jaw. Wiggle the nose. If you've laid in a supine position, you might wish to take a long stretch through the body. If the knees are bent, it might feel more comfortable to hug the knees to the chest. And once more, release that space in the lower back. If you're seated upright, just gently nod the chin towards the chest. And just release that space between the shoulder blades. In your own time, return to a comfortable seated position, bringing the palms together into an Anjali Mudra. So for those of you who are new to the class, we always do a little blessing at the end of the session. So you can join in or you can just watch and join next time. Touch to the head for kind thoughts, to the lips for kind words, and to the heart for kind intentions. The light in me honors the light in you, Namaste.